Hi and welcome to another 5 minutes tutorial, and this time about getting a good material for hair. So I have done a donut here or torus and just added some hair particles on that one, and I not changed too many parameters. It's just so we have something to add the material on. And right now it's the Principled BSDF, and you can see it's rather flat and it doesn't look like hair so much. So we take that away and instead we use the Principled Hair BSDF. And this one, as soon as you connect that, you get a lot of shininess and glint and everything that should be on the hair. And 90% of the parameters are right now correct for human hair, so you don't have to change so much. It's just to take it in, render, and all should be okay. Okay, so what I will do now is go through those that you can change or should change. So first of all, we have the methods. We have two different methods. So we have the Chang method, and that is when you are close to the hair strands. Then you get the perfect reflection and everything works really nice. But if you are on a distance, those reflections get noisy. And then you can change into Wang instead. And that will then reduce the amount of noise that you have on your hair. Then you have three different, I can get back to Chang, but before I do that I can also show this, that you have three new parameters. So with Chang you don't have those, but with Wang you have them. I will not go through them, I only say that don't change them. If you want natural, correct hair, these should be one. They should not be changed. If you change those, you get into a natural, fictional hair, not correctly based or physically based material. So don't change those. Okay, back to Chang, because we are near this now. Then we have three methods to work with. We have the direct coloring, we have the absorption coefficient, and the melanin concentration. Direct coloring is easiest to understand, because if I change this to red, you get red hair. If I change it to blue, I get blue hair, and so on. So it's rather easy to work with and understand in that way. So here we have some grayish hair that we can work with. Then we have the roughness. That is like the general roughness on the hair strands. So with low roughness you get a lot of shininess, and with the high roughness you lose all the shininess. If you take it too low, it's almost like metallic, so please have some values in at least. The radial roughness is the reflection in the normal direction of the hair strands, so it gets like a band from the light. So if I have my light here, you can see we get this light on the reflection here, on the glint on the hair strands, and that will then be more and more scattered if you take up the roughness. So now you can see we loses that band here. Now it's more evenly reflected all over the place. So with radial roughness that is really low, then you instead get it very concentrated, that here is where we have the reflection. So that is what radial roughness is working with. Then we have the coat, and that is more shine, like if you have a fur or something that you have, I don't know how they do it, but you know that polished look that you get of coat. Then you drag this up and you get that shiny look that you have on fur. The index of refraction is one of those that you should not change. It's perfect for human hair. And the same with offset, you should not change that as well. You can see here it should be around 2 and 4, but do not change them so much. Random roughness you can change, of course, to make it a bit, get a bit random. The random roughness you put in here, that will then be multiplied with the random here. So if you put in a high random number, then you get and have high random roughness, you get really high random in total, so to say. So they are working together. Okay, then we can go to melanin concentration, and that is, I think, the most natural way to work, because here you just add the amount of melanin. So if you are like a very old person or you don't have any melanin in because you are blonde, then you have a low amount of melanin, and if you take it up, you get darker, and you get like black hair if you have a melanin of 1. And you can then also add some redness into the melanin here. Then roughness, radial roughness, coat, everything there is exactly the same. You have random color and random roughness. But one thing that you should notice is that you have tint, which is when you dye the hair. So if you do it green, for instance, that will not be affected by the random color. It will just keep this green all over the place. So it only affects the melanin and so on. So that is normally what I work with when I do this, that I work with the melanin concentration. But both the direct coloring and the melanin concentration are built on the absorption coefficient. So you can do hair here, but it's a little bit reversed because this is what it's like eating the color. So if you take this up really high, then you are eating red. So you get less red in. And if you take this high up, then you are eating the green and so on. So if I want this red, then I should take away the red and keep the other colors, and then I get red here. So it's like reversed a bit. But above that, or if I just leave that and just look at the other parameters, they are exactly the same as you had on the other versions with the melanin concentration and direct coloring. So we can look at some of these that I rendered. So if I go to image editor here and then I change to my first slot, here is the result of using the melanin concentration. So I used a rather low amount of melanin here, and I went with mostly the basic standard parameters, and then you get this amount, this hair. The next I tried was then this one, and this is when I run with direct coloring and just added some redness into that, and then you can see it's harder to get it to look natural here because you get these sharp breaks and so on. You can get rid of that, but it's a lot of tweaking. And then I went for some between here, where I then used the absorption coefficient to lift the red in this. So here you have some different examples. You can see it's much smoother here compared to the one where I used direct coloring. So you have those methods and you can play with them, and this is about how they works. But as I said, you should not change the index of refraction, only change offset slightly. You can play with the random, but other than that, mostly just change the colors to make it good looking, as long as you work with humans. When you're working with animals, well, they can have different types of fur. Okay, now I talked a bit longer than 5 minutes, but it was a lot of parameters. But hopefully you learned something about the Principled Hair BSDF and how you can change it. And I just say bye for now and see you later.